Pat, thank you so much for joining us here at the PLSA's annual conference, the largest gathering for pension professionals in the UK.
Absolutely.
A perfect place to find out what are the main concerns for this industry at the moment. What do you think the challenges are facing them?
Oh my gosh, I think the challenges are multiple, but I think this is a really, really exciting time for the pensions industry. One of the big areas I think the whole industry is focusing on is governance and improving governance for pension schemes. So there are some really exciting initiatives, and they've been led by people such as the TPR, their paper, for example, last year, 21st Century Trusteeship, and that really focused on structure and how we better structure the industry. The PLSA, they issued a paper recently called Good Governance and How Do We Get There, and again focused on a really important area, which is actually the structure of boards and diversity of trustee boards and how they make decisions. So I think those are two really important areas. So structure, first of all, and trustee boards and diversity of those trustee boards. We at Kas Bank think there's another area the industry's got to focus on, and that's information and data. Without good information, how can you make really good, well-informed decisions? So we think that's a really important area for this industry to focus on over the next few years.
Why do you think that is? Why is there a historic problem with that?
Well, I think, first of all, I think investments. I'm focusing really on investments when I talk about data. And I think investments have become increasingly complex. So I think it's very, very difficult to get information on those investments. But also, I think service providers have historically got very, very old and cumbersome technology. So I think it, again, makes it very difficult for them to actually provide that data to pension funds. And therefore, I think trustees and pension funds are actually quite frustrated with the lack of data that's accurate and timely.
So with better data, how do you think that would help trustees?
Well, I think anything in life, if you've got more information to hand, you can make better and more informed decisions, and therefore, hopefully, there'll be better outcomes, better possible outcomes for your members.
Now, a big part of all of that would be transparency of cost. Tell me what your thoughts are on that.
Right, well, we're a specialist Dutch custodian, so this is an area we're very, very familiar with. I'll just take it back a tiny bit. So just after the crisis, the Dutch regulators really looked at the pensions industry and made some significant changes, and one area they really focused on was lack of disclosure of costs. So from about 2011 they actually recommended that pension funds reported costs to the regulator on a regular basis, so maybe on an annual basis, just a recommendation at that point. But the industry evolved, and since 2015 it's actually a legal obligation for pension funds to report costs. So with that, we've taken that experience as a Dutch pension fund and actually brought that idea to the UK. Because also in the UK, there's actually a growing concern around lack of disclosure of costs. So just typically costs that have been unreported in the past.
And it's a value for money thing rather than there has to be no cost.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, we don't say that costs are bad. You know, there has to be a cost to anything, and it is about value for money. So, you know, like everything, sometimes you can pay higher for a product and lower. It doesn't mean one's bad or good. We think we just need to understand what those costs are, and at the moment there's a lot of unreported costs in the UK, and we therefore think it makes it very difficult for pension funds to make more informed decisions, because if you don't understand what the cost of something is, how can you make a decision as to whether it's good or bad?
So you're bringing an actual product to the market with your dashboard here as well. Tell me about that and what that aims to do.
So what we've done is we've actually built a template to collect those costs, and it's very much built on the Dutch experience. So we look at two elements of costs. First of all, there's the investment costs, and then there's also the cost of managing the pension scheme. So we collect those costs on behalf of the pension scheme from all of their service providers, and what that does is it gives us an overview of the total cost of ownership for the pension scheme. We then have given it back to trustees and pension funds in a very innovative and simple to understand dashboard. So you get a complete overview of what it's costing you to run that pension scheme on behalf of your members.
This is new.
Yes.
Are you viewed as a disruptor because you're doing this, or is this just natural evolution, if you like?
I think a little bit of both, actually. So maybe a little bit of disruptor because it is something new, and some people feel a bit uncomfortable about this initiative. However, we think it is the way the pension fund industry in the UK needs to go. I mean, there is some interesting initiatives out there. You've got the FCA Disclosure Group, and their actual task is to actually look at standardising the collection of those costs on behalf of pension funds. So this is where the industry is going, without a doubt.
And the message you'd like to put out to all these pension professionals is embrace it and use it?
Absolutely. We think you need to understand the total cost of your ownership for your pension scheme to be able to manage that scheme better for your members.
And Pat, you come at this not just as a person running a company, but also as a trustee yourself.
Yes, exactly. So I'm really, really excited about what's happening in the industry, and I'm really excited about the initiative of being able to bring some sort of availability of data around costs to trustees. You know, what we're really trying to do is help trustees make those more informed decisions so there is better possible outcomes for their members. You know, and for me at Kas Bank, this is our first step to becoming the governance partner of choice for UK pension funds. So delighted.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.